that's really true. You know, filtering my husband. I don't know if you have husbands that tell bad jokes. My husband, I swear, my kids and I just like, and I always tell him, I said, you know, there's a filter between the thought and the mouth. You should really use it sometimes, you know. And I also use another tactic, the dog whisperer. What they do, if you ever see him, he goes shh to dogs because it's something that they don't understand and they can't do. So when my husband says a bad joke, I go shh, shh. It gives them control. But I like what you're saying, that, you know, honoring yourself. It works. Just do it to your husband. Just watch what he does, because they don't understand it. They're very confused. They're like dogs. Watch them. Do it to your dog and do it to your husband. They're both very confused, you know. Now my husband knows when I go shh, stop. But one of the things I want to share with you is that's something we talk a lot about, because we're good friends and we get together and hang out. We talk about honoring yourself. I think that, and saying no. I think that's one of the most powerful things we need to learn to do as women. And I get asked to do a lot, you know, and I want to do everything I'm asked to do, but there comes the realization that, and I'm honest with people, I said, I would love to participate in this, but I have to be candid with you. I don't have the time to serve on your board and give you what you need. I would rather leave that space available for somebody who really has the opportunity to give to you what you need, or at least be very honest about what your bandwidth is. My bandwidth is this. If you want me there just because you want to have that, you know, somebody who has kind of those thoughts and ideas, that's what I can bring to the table. But I can't bring that expansive, go out and do an additional level of work because of what life is today. I think many women find ourselves in that situation. Right. We're used to doing all, and we want to be liked, and we want, so it's, but I love one of the things that you shared with us when she has employees who need to find new opportunities, what you share with them.
What I share with them? Well, my philosophy is this, learned over many, many years, I wasn't always here, is that termination is really a horrible word, but we really haven't come up with another one. So I usually just say to them, I'm freeing them up for new opportunities, because I think as a servant leader, our job is to make sure we give people the tools they need to be successful. And when you do that, you have to listen, correct? You have to listen to what they say they need. I need staples. You know, I need to change my hours. I can't come in at 8. Can I come in at 8:30? You know, I need a better manager. I need to be on a different team. I need more training. You know, you listen. I need you to fire me. See, they don't say that, but their actions say that, and actions speak louder than words. And it doesn't mean ever that they're not a good person or they weren't good for the time they served with your organization. What it means is this is not where they're supposed to be. And some people are so loyal that they will never quit. And if they don't, I was riffed in 1986. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they didn't riff me, I'd probably still be working for them.
What does riff mean?
Reduction in force.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody knew what that was.
They got rid of a new department that I was thinking, oh man, I need to be in this department. It's new, it's growing, it's new in the country. Asset management was new in the 80s. So I moved to that department quick, fast, and in a hurry, and started to be promoted very quickly. And then they decided to get rid of the whole division, move it into another area. So people were laid off. I was the last person to go. And that was the first time I'd ever experienced that. You know, I'd never been fired from a job before. I'd quit some, but I'd never been fired. And it didn't feel like being fired. You know, they hired these top-notch professionals to help you with your resume. You got to keep your voicemail. You could come and use the office if you wanted to. It was sweet. And they treated us so well. And I learned from that, and I carry that with me because I've had to reduce force in my company since 2006. And I remembered how I felt. See, it's not about anything other than how you make people feel. Maya Angelou always says, people will not remember what you did or remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And I want people to feel good when I leave. Now, if they feel bad, that's on them. No, but no, seriously, my intention is to leave people in a good place. If I've spent 2 minutes with you or 2 days or 2 hours, I want you to feel good about it. I don't want you to leave feeling like Wanda was a burden or, you know, anything else. And so that's my intention. But
I think that that's really important. I always like to jump in. I've never heard anybody put it that way, but some people are asking you to fire them. And you think about that, people do have behavior, and I think women especially, are so late to the game of learning how to manage that call to action. You know, I think women don't fire quick enough or give people the opportunity. And I think it's a psychology mindset, because I think if you take that moment today and embrace that in the future of anybody, and firing can be your hairdresser, it doesn't mean necessarily an employee-employer relationship. It can be anybody in your life who is saying, it's really time for me to do something else. I'm not brave enough to do it. I need you to do it. So think about that and look at those behaviors of people around you who are saying, it's really time for me to go. And I just got, somebody recently said, the people who were in your past that are not in your future, there's a reason for that. And I think that that's really true. So don't regret it. It's a reason that people cross our paths at different times. But I think that's one of the most empowering things, is that you have to realize people are sometimes asking us to fire them in any kind of relationship.
Because I wouldn't fire people on the job. I got good at it. Not that I walked in every day and said, you go, go, go. No, it's always been difficult for me. Only in that I really care about these people. And they've been great. We've had good times together. And I know, even if they don't, that they're going to land on their feet and they're going to do well, because the training and the tools we've given them are amazing. We're very serious about giving you great training, promoting you. 85% of the managers in my company grew up in this company, because it's all about growing. It's all about, you can't be the same you were the day you came into this organization. You're going to be changed. I guarantee it. And many people, it takes them, I always say it takes about 90 days for them to really get it and go, wow, they really mean what they say. We do not compromise our foundational principles for anybody. I do compromise them, or I have in my personal life. I'm getting a lot better at not doing that. A lot better. Woo! That's why I lost weight. I got rid of people. Not rudely, but gently. I try to be gentle and kind. I try to be. I'm not saying I'm perfect every time, but that's my intention. This just isn't working out. This isn't a good relationship. This isn't a good fit. It has nothing to do with you. And it has nothing, it's both of us. It's both of us. It's not a good fit for either of us. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. I take ego out of it. I work really hard not to judge. Notice how I said I work really hard not to judge? Because when you judge people, you have to understand that you judge yourself harsher. You realize that, right? If you judge yourself, it's easy for you to judge other people. That comes, everything is built in your life from the inside out. It is not an external experience. We are taught that it's an external experience, but it's not. It's very internal. Out of the heart of a person, their mouth speaks. That's internal. How you make people feel has nothing to do with how cute you are. Even though I hope it helps when it comes to meeting guys, but that's beside the point. You really do grow your life, your business, everything that's attached to you, you grow it from in here. What is it that you really believe intrinsically about yourself and about life? The most important is, what do you feel about yourself? Because sometimes I used to hear voices. Now, I'm not saying they'd be like this, Wanda. No, it was just my thoughts. And my thoughts would be, you really aren't that smart. One day people are going to figure out, you're not that smart. You only have a bachelor's of general studies from Maryland. I mean, really. Let me tell you, I have gentle and loving conversations with those thoughts. Sweetie, you hung around me for a lot of years, and I was successful in spite of you. Wonder what I could do if you just stopped talking. That's a loving response. That's coming from a place that's so deep-rooted. I'm not going to put any blame, because blame is powerless. I don't know where they came from, but I'm recognizing them now, and I say, The first time I ever had to speak in public, I was working for a consulting firm in Bethesda. And I worked for a person who believed in chaos. You know, there are people that lead businesses that believe in chaos. I don't function well in chaos. You know, you got to really learn yourself. And in the 5 years I was at that company, I had 3 surgeries to remove tumors from my body. Yes, I did. That has not happened to me since. Went through, anyway. Have one now, but it's benign. Don't get excited. I have a name for it. And it's because I went through a stressful period last year. I knew when I felt it, I'm like, uh-oh, something's going on. Let me figure out what's going on. It's a sign for me. It's just a sign for me. I can't speak for everyone else. My mother had breast cancer, so I'm very conscious about all of that. But I went and checked it out, and it was fine, and I'll remove it one day, just not right now. But when I had to have 3 surgeries, and I had only been at that company for a year and a half, I knew something was wrong. And I used to talk to people and say, it's something about this company. Because I'm happy everywhere. That's my intention. So I come in every day. I'm like, hey, how y'all doing? Good morning. How was your weekend? Did y'all see the game last night? Even if I ain't see the game. You know when you work with men.
So you say, did you see the
I'm
game
like,
last
how about those Redskins? You know, you say, I love the Redskins, though, but I missed the game. But I know they won. So I'm like, how about that game? You have to, know what's important to people that work with you. It's very important to know what's important to them. Acknowledge everybody. My father taught me that lesson. My father used to tip everybody. You know, back in the day, there wasn't self-service gasoline. You had the guy that came out and pumped and then cleaned off the window. My dad would give him a big tip. We'd go out to a restaurant, which was rare. My father would leave a big tip, and my mother would walk slow behind him and go and say, that's a little bit too much. True story. But he was always acknowledging everybody. I got so many stories about that man, I'm telling you, I could write a book about him, seriously, because he came from a lot in Mississippi in the 1930s. But see how easy it is for me to talk about? I can talk about them because they're sitting right here. But he taught me that everybody was important. My mother taught me that. I don't care who it is. If you go interview the cab driver who brought me here today, he'd be able to tell you some things about me, just that I was that kind to him. Just that I had a conversation with him, just that I acknowledged him and appreciated the fact that he didn't have an issue about him having to only drive me a couple of blocks. But it's all about how you make people feel. You acknowledge as many people as you can because they are just as important as you. And let me just say this. I spent this weekend with a bunch of wonderful people, but I decided Sunday night I was going to watch some of the 9/11 events that I had decided to take. And let me tell you what came to me during that process. That when everyone was in those buildings, even when the firemen, God bless their soul, kept running up those steps, just running toward the danger. You know, that made me think about my dad, right? But I'm just thinking about it and I'm seeing it and I'm like, none of those people called and said, make sure they say nice things about me at my funeral. They didn't call the bill collectors or the bank. They didn't call the people that they buy clothes from or anything that's external. All they wanted people to know was that they loved them. This might be a little tough. I may not see you. Some of them even said, I'm going to be all right, just to calm down their loved ones. And I looked at that and said, at the end of the day, at the end of their lives, knowing that their lives were coming to an end, the most important thing was love. Even through fear, even through death, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And I sat there and I said, nothing matters. I like to be cute, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter. My life matters. Your life matters. That's the only thing that matters. And every day you wake up, you have to remind yourself that your life matters and every other life matters. And when you get that, when you understand that, when you come from that place that never ever fails, your life will be more abundant than you can ever imagine. Those people taught me something, and I will never forget it. I am connected to each and every one of them, and I understand that they left here to teach me something. And I think the same for all of you. So important that you know that you are worthy just because you are here. Just because you're here today, you're worthy. There's no coincidence that any of you are in this room. None. Absolutely none. I don't know if I said something that touched you, but I definitely said some things that touched me. Your life, every last life in this room is worth more than you could put money on. You remember that commercial? The date, $67. The kiss, something, then the kids priceless. Let me tell you something. Nothing is more priceless than your life.